Alright, that
Good morning to everyone. Welcome. In the few minutes we have together, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to practice compassion in one's daily life.
And the Luki Numburdine and the Zubuchi Tangag and Numbuna Zubo, and then the Lumag and the Zubo Shileta, and Ziki Shala Nugio Bache, and the Nazuki Dushine, now Kuno Samlo, and then Yomo by Conroda, the next Yovene, Digi Kinchine, and Lumagi, Jobatia Zuboche, Digi, and Shala Nuachi Gorba, Dingan Chasanyam Yoro.
What we all have confidence of, what we all have experience of, is when particular states of mind, afflicted minds, arise and dominate us, minds such as anger, pride, jealousy, and so forth. The impact this has, firstly, on our mental state, and immediately on our body, even if only expressed as a facial expression. But through the arisal of these particular states of consciousness which afflict or disturb our mind, then we immediately, our mind in general becomes tainted in an unwanted way, in a suffering way, and our body changes as well.
And the Chigawachi, Luyi Numgune, Sampochi, and Miss Sutone, and the Chig Delia Numbuton, Galana Yongoya Chita, and then I answer in and Chi Delana Yovata, and Chi D. Genjina, answer Rashin Nigala, and Chiki Semba Reshishi and Tiki Yonadi, and the Tik to Kuno Samlola Jambi, that serious some Kunojana, D. Numgu Jebu, and Luyi Lumag and Numgude Yapochile, Digi and the Shalaya. What
we also all have experience of is the arisal of minds which are contrary or completely unrelated to the afflictions, wholesome minds, such as loving kindness, a tender attitude towards others, and compassion. So we have the experience of the arisal of these states of consciousness, and the impact it has on us both mentally, but also on us physically, our physical expression, our way of communicating and interacting with others. And we also have the experience of how we do interact with others and the impacts this state of mind, a loving attitude, a tender attitude, the impact this state of mind within us has on those around us. So this too, we have experience of.
Adinenza, Tanganzu, Jigge, Anzu Garsen, Misaji Nene, and the Jigge Sosu, Chasan, Tumbuchita, and the Jigge Jisojine, Tumbu, Zambline, Tumbu, Shidichi Yungo, Chagor, Shidichi Yungo, Gogorwa, that is Shidi Yola, Nanganzu, Sem, Jamze, Jamba, the Zevi, some of the Damvena, Digi, Nentebutilla, and Chasan, Shidi Yon to Yati Chagor, Dineza, Shidi Yoyaki, Zawigi, Zawadi, that Jamba the Zevi, some of the Chagor, Jisa, Dineza, Jamze, the Jamba and Pentu, Michi Gilia, Jamba the Zevi, some of the Shuk Chuntabi, Nuntabi, Gengi, and Zamlinalia, Yotadan, and Jisonala, Jikila Tubaja, Jigilia, and Jika Ganga, the name of Buyadi, says Samnonalia, Jamzi, some of the Shuk Chuntabi, is that she did. Misaji Nada, Chisonala, Zemlina, the Shidia, Zawadi, on the Jamzi, somebody, Yamnachi Chagorwa.
And furthermore, all of us, we long for a peaceful mind to abide in a state of inner peace. And we have experience where love and kindness arises within us. Our mind is at peace, and our interactions with others are harmonious. And this we can understand then as being the result of the arisal of loving and tender attitudes towards others. People who are guided by such attitudes, they themselves are at peace, and they are in harmony with others around them. And where we see conflict in the world, whether it's between nations, or whether between communities, or within the home, that conflict arises when there is a lack of love and compassion. So the result of love and compassion is harmony between people.
And champion somebody that gets him chagore. This is the Nidelia, Misena, to get the Peshet Dangje, Peshet Dang Tubaina, then the Rasha Nigalia, Pando Chimurada, and Zemli Shiriyagi, and the chick you can add the chagorwa.
Just from this brief presentation, it's clear the impact of living under the guidance of love and compassion will have for oneself and all those one interacts with. Therefore, to have one's motivating light of love and compassion is of great importance, not only for oneself, but for society in general.
Jamba Zivi, Samloti, Nini, Canis Gori, Yargi, Canistang Gori, Lana, that Angbo Corona, to Karsam Tangas in the Chida, Zivi, Samlon, Anzu, Yore, Yomaresene, Anzu, Yore, Jambe, Samla, Jamba, Yore, Zewa, Yore, in a Anzu, Nuba Chunjura, Charge, and Gidin, and Bejet, to go, and Nuba Chunjura Chagora. That in Nuba Charatnaya, like Canis Bejet, and Nini, Bejet, and Lalan, Canistagore, Lana, Tanganzu, my.
How then does one develop an attitude or a motivation of love and compassion? Well, the first thing to recognize is that all of us, everyone without exception, has the seeds of both love and compassion on one's continuum. However, those seeds only occasionally ripen. One only has, on occasion, a mind dominated by love and compassion. And therefore those seeds are weak, but nevertheless they are there. And because they are there, they can be developed. We can train our mind so that love and compassion dominates us and guides us.
Say do kabla yalang do kabla da shoge nang zu kar sam dang was na da so dangbo so la da so dewa du ore dunga du go mare chesan so dewa ku tyo ba da dunga du go mare chesan din da shin da nga zu zembli na la mi da semje su re shi ne chesan dewa de ba da dunga mi do be ji ba re sha chesan da dewa de ba da mi do be ji ba ma do khabar kha mi no as me ba za da nga so ji bu Dewa Duban Shan, Dewa Dugo, Dunga Gugoma, Dineza, Shan Simja Tamjelia, Dewa the Dengudu, Dewa the Dena, some big Samlochita, Tassimjan Tamjiki, Dunga, Majun or Show, some big Denige Samloting Anzuki, a Yane, Durstiki, Shoget, Mangazuki, the Samtadi, Geshe Thubten.
So just to briefly outline the steps and the method to transform one's mind, to strengthen and develop love and compassion, the first step is immediately in the morning when we wake up, have as your first thought the recognition that I want to live happiness. I only want to experience happiness. I do not want to experience any problem or difficulty. And this underlying motivation, this underlying desire is not unique to me. It's shared by each and every being throughout the world. Everyone that I will directly meet or even merely call to mind, all beings without exception only want happiness, want to live free of pain and difficulty. And therefore, I set as my commitment today to interact with others in a way that adds to their happiness and at the very least does not add to their burden of pain.
Dinigi doesn't 좀 차상을 대화돼 되나 선배 삼는 거 선진의 선자담제 동화다 자나 시베 자와쇼 선배 삼도 신의 곰데 직 소소라랑이 뒤슬 빠베게다 까마직니 솜세간 되네가제 곰투이나 되네게 삼다 되네 나는 니바들라 갈 삼당 거래서나 다도 삼다래 되네 마 저기 소설 당보 소설하라리아 아니 삼다제 아니 소설하랑기 가브리엘이야 콩르사바이나 디 콩로디 기엔제네 랑기 라와메바 아니샬리아 넘규 직독자라야다 안 넘규 직 독주돼야다 안지 디니 차리 밀 김마기 버서야 되는데 용도 와 선배게 나 소수기 냠냠도 하고 그러 소소 콩라도 가지 넘기네 콩라 랑야도 직독부셔야다 안 넘규 독자돼야다 되네게 용고로 와 어디네 용도 제사다 소소라 라와메바 되네 콩로 원게 되네 쇼로도 와서 나 디나신 더 소설이야 잼베 자와다 소수기 보고다 뽑분야다 로바다 수나 소수기 잼바다 제외 삼을 리어도 갑라 아니 하랑게 기시에게 아니 지기 정보셔야다 아니 지기 바 넘규대 야고 기시에 야고 셔야 돼 아니 자상 회시셔야 돼 용구도 와 선배게 당보되는 시 삼다 되는 삼다네 안다 점리나리아 아니 지기 지기지래 톱제다다 지기지리야 뇨라셔야다 강아몽부 제한디게 샘제요레 미요레 dunro 요시기레 디네자 안 디네스 샤사다 미코론리아 라와 가야 말에 뇨모비기 코론리아 코롱규로 콩로다 뇨모베 기혼 바자디게 라와 메바디 용구도 와 베능아라 코라기에도 샤네 직수시야다 디 용도 디나진 직버레스 단 디네게 샘젠디게 미디게 샤사 데네게 닝제아 선배다 콜밀리아 라와요 말에 제산도 뇨몽베 샤오도 소어레 제서 닝제 선배게 두치네 삼땅 보고래제
When you wake up and you reflect in this way, this first step of the meditation is to understand how all beings are the same, that we are all equal in this regard. And then spend a few minutes generating the thoughts again and again. May this deep underlying wish of all beings, may it be fulfilled. May all beings abide in a state of lasting happiness, a state of deep inner peace and fulfillment. May no beings suffer in any way. And generate this thought again and again for a few minutes. Thereafter, having in this first step generated a close and tender attitude towards others, feeling a connection towards others, then remind oneself of the harm that anger in particular brings. So we have experience here. It's not something merely theoretical. We can think of our own experiences of when anger has arisen within us, how it felt, and its expression, through its expression, the impact it had on others. And here you can think about the wide breadth of anger, whether it's mild frustration or annoyance, all the way up to full-blown rage. See how its mere arisal causes suffering within oneself, and its expression, suffering to others. Thereafter, reflect on the benefits of being guided rather by a loving and tender attitude, a sense of closeness and affinity with others. And again, we have experience here. And now one commits to ensuring that one's mind at all times is guarded from coming under the influence of anger and rather stays under the guidance of a loving and tender attitude towards others. And then lastly, in this section, one recalls the faults of anger, again from what one has experienced, and reminds oneself that when people act under the control of anger, they have no freedom. When we see conflict between people, whether physical or verbal, or a person's own inner turmoil, that individual has no control. They haven't chosen to be in an angry state. They've rather lost control of their mind, and their mind is now overwhelmed by anger. Whether that anger is on the level of annoyance and frustration or full-blown rage and aggression, they have lost control. They are suffering. So here we commit to, when we encounter people in this position, to be compassionate for this person who is clearly suffering.
다디 제라 가라 삼당 거라스나 당아 주게 다디 쇼게 두 삼다 되는 아 주다 니메르직리아 아 주식 내가 제레가 이나다 니 봐서 지게 참여도바나 지소단 저바진 님치 조고도 안도시도 나데네게 조위링리아 안에 가브리엘이야 아 주게 내가 조도가라 내가 레한 아 레로 로파티레 안디나데 안지금 그제 조를 bom보로 그셔야지 안디나에 네지 이제 가브리엘이 소소고 원래 레알레간으로 쇼로와 대속에다 소소리아 가브리엘이 직 넘기를 독자 돼야다 안에 직 되네게 직 독자라야라서 받아 된지 중보이나 안는 하기 될야 코로 말아와지 되네게 될야 닝제에서 닝제기 두바지기 스카르스는 콘도 대지 삼다와나지 콘도 디 넘기를 독자 돼야다 되네라 되기네 그 노트쇼 쇼하디게 마싱 바다 녀몽베 원기 디지고데 제가 미콜라랑 요마 카요마레 제장에 닝제레 선배기 될야 닝제 검토바지기 선배들야 파 콘로 말아와지 팔리안 닝제다 건지 고미하다 아니 건주기 잠재 고미하게 제도바지기 선배게다 당보 도스젠데 되네기 삼시 당고 고르와 당아서 내가 마로니엘로 와다 지지소년 마로니엘 당보 되네 삼당고 고래.
And thereafter, having gone through these steps of the meditation, think about your day ahead. Think about who you're going to meet and what interactions you're going to have with others. Because throughout the day, one directly meets people or indirectly communicates with them, whether over the phone or on the internet. One directly and indirectly will interact with a number of people. You know the relationships you have with some of them. You also know the subject matter that you're going to speak about. So you have an idea of what kind of interaction one may have with them. So prepare your mind that should anyone interact with you in a way that you find unwanted, whether physically or verbally, especially verbally, that one guards one's mind and doesn't respond in the usual habitual aggressive manner, but rather, through utilizing one's own wisdom, one's own intelligence, recognize that this person right now is overwhelmed by afflictions, and therefore they are speaking to me in this way. They have lost control over their own mind and they are suffering. So today, whenever I have an interaction with someone which feels a little bit aggressive or feels like I'm being spoken down to, I will rather respond with wisdom and compassion.
안도 삼다제다 두시네 안다는 다 인공 바 치료조제 미님 투려가래야다 되네 갑려야 다듯이 되네기 내가 오소 소소리야 되네기 치술라 남유두샤 뛰어봐이나 안디 갑려야 다 닝제다 미래랑와 요마레 선배기 도수시네 삼당고 닝제다 콜랑 녀몽바 제 거기를 그 삼노나래야 안 삼노 군농 되네기 녀몽바 샤완소와데 캬카요 말 닝제 선배다 도수시네 검토바지고 그래서.
That there in brief is the steps of a meditation to do in the morning. Then what is also very important is as one then goes about one's daily activities, recall that meditation. In this way, one will keep compassion and wisdom in one's heart. And then when interacting with people and they relate to one in a way that's unwanted, then naturally, independent on this reflection of that morning, one will respond in a way that's kind-hearted and gentle, wanting the very best for this suffering person before one.
제시쇼데 가르세는 아주 대시 쇼게 랑아체 쇼게 삼다야데 안딩이 샘제담제 대화데 좀 동안 템바쇼스 미니체 고미아데다 안시행게 지테네 치소데네 요아디게 뇽모베 샤와 랑와메 바데시 랑와메 송고레 닝지에 세베 닝지 삼다야 안나가데 니메 콜리아미다 투리아가 덴디치드 갑라 메델야 콘로마 닝지 곰토 지긴 세베 디삼로 장도르 제데 야네 야도가데 다 니메 타바르케디나 게디 고치 삼다야데 게쳔보레 아니 쇼게나라 닝고이나 공다 고갑주제간에 주변에 데네 삼다와이나 아니 모소 투제 안데네 강아티르가 람사 잠니지 고미야데 레투리에제 Bendigo Lega Jitirwa, she Cham Tawene, Niela, Maramun Matupilla, Jangdurche and Drovane, Yabu Tapia, Zemoze, Mazuni Mazinia, Jangdurche, Yabu to a Jangdurche Mena, Yabu to Minua, on the Najin Pen and Chivares on the
To have compassion and wisdom pervade one's mind, it's imperative to train repeatedly over a sustained period. This is how we develop new mental habits. So this technique is entirely in line with all the skills that you in your life have already developed. You gain some knowledge, and then you integrate that knowledge. And the greater the knowledge and the deeper the integration, the more of an impact it will have on your daily life. So this is the same training that one engages in here. Just like a skilled athlete or an accomplished musician or someone who's deeply knowledgeable on a field and an expert in their field, they've all trained themselves in this way. So too with developing a good heart, developing wisdom and compassion within oneself. It depends on engaging in the same meditation every single morning, sometimes just a few minutes, sometimes a little longer, and then reminding oneself of this repeatedly throughout the day. And the meditation steps are, in brief, reflecting that all of us at a fundamental level are the same. There's no fundamental difference. There's no a difference at a deeper level between ourselves and others. Thereafter, we recall the faults of anger and the benefits of wisdom and compassion based on our own experience. And then lastly, we engage in role-playing, thinking about our day ahead. And doing this meditation repeatedly and rejuvenating it during the day will bring about transformation.
Oh yeah, that's Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.